Today, we're talking leadership mistakes for entrepreneurs, and any one of these could kill your business. So keep listening. Hi, I'm Joe Sova. This is the Joe Sova Business Show, where we help you live your purpose. We help you put meaning behind your business and bring fulfillment to what you're doing, right? It's more than simply running a business. This is about your purpose, all right? So that's what we're going to cover today when we talk about leadership mindset mistakes that small business owners have to avoid, or it could destroy and end your business. All right. Any one of these things can lead down a path that could be devastating for any entrepreneur and for any business. And I've seen this, right? I do one-to-one coaching with clients, and I've seen this, people on the brink of burnout, people on the brink of falling off the cliff, businesses that were teetering because so much weight was on the owner, the entrepreneur themselves, right? And until they shifted their mindset around these mistakes they were making, they were going over that cliff. All right. So you might relate to that. We're going to dive into all of that today. All right. You're going to learn exactly the mistakes to avoid in order to achieve your dreams, right? And in order to avoid all the mistakes that I have learned over my 20 plus years in entrepreneurship. All right. So keep listening, stay to the end here, and you'll learn all of these that are important. All right. First things first, go ahead and subscribe. All right. Go ahead and go to my website now, joesovatraining.com/subscribe. And you'll get all the new episodes that we come out with, right? This information is valuable because it will help your business, all right? So go to joesovatraining.com/subscribe and sign up there so that you are the first to see the exclusive stuff that we have for you, all right? Now, let's get into it. 3 mistakes that business owners have to avoid when it comes to leadership mindset, all right? And leadership mindset is important because it's what drives your business, right? If your mindset is around, I'm going to do everything myself and be a solopreneur, great. Okay, that's fine. But if you have bigger dreams, bigger aspirations, bigger things you want to do, which if you're like most entrepreneurs, there's always something more, right? Then shifting your leadership mindset and your purpose around all of that is critical. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about today on how to do that. Now, what most people do, these mistakes are common. All right. So that's number 1. And I can speak to these, not because I read a bunch of books behind me, all right? There's a lot of good information back here, but a lot of it is just that it's information. It's because I lived this stuff, right? These mistakes I made, some of them I made more than once, all right? So I feel you, all right? I'm not judging here. I'm not telling you you're doing something totally out of the ordinary. In fact, if you're making these mistakes, it means you're likely, even one of these mistakes, you're like most business owners out there, all right? But that's why most business owners are most business owners, right? They're the average, sometimes below average, right? 1 out of 3 businesses goes out of business within just a couple of years, right? You have bigger plans. You have bigger impact to make. You have a purpose to live, right? So that's what we're talking today, all right? So that's my preface there is don't take this personal, right? Even if you get caught up in one of these more than the others, it's completely normal, right? What I do with my clients, my coaching clients, is help them shift out of this, right? And I work with them so that they can move beyond this. And that's the point of this episode, is to help you start that journey as well. Okay. So number 1, the first thing is micromanaging. All right. This is a leadership mindset mistake that is so common that you could probably say the word micromanaging to anybody out there, and you're going to get the same reaction from everybody, right? They're going to, oh man, I hate that. That's the worst, right? Anybody you interview, if you say, what kind of manager do you want, right? Test this out. Hey, what kind of manager do you like? What do you not want, I should say? I don't want somebody to micromanage me, right? Now, the flip side, right? Anybody who is conducting the interview, right? If you go to corporate, if you go to small business, online entrepreneurs, whoever, right? If you're interviewing somebody, you're likely going to say, hey, I don't want to micromanage people, right? Nobody likes micromanaging. Nobody at all. Right? I would challenge you, if you can find somebody that likes to be micromanaged, send them my way. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with this, is we say that, and our actions as entrepreneurs oftentimes say different, right? Actions speak louder than words, as we know, right? But with entrepreneurs and the mindset we are typically entrenched with from peers, from society as a whole, just from expectation of what entrepreneurship is about, right, is that we have to micromanage our own business. How crazy is that? Everybody says they don't like micromanaging, yet as an entrepreneur, we tend to micromanage our own business, right? Here's an example, right? You may have said this before. I do this because I'm the best at it. I'm the only one that can get this done the right way in my business. You're managing a process there. And you're not just managing, you're micromanaging because you're overseeing every last detail of how that process is done. Does that sound familiar? Right? Can you relate to that? I certainly could in my past business experience until I learned how to shift my mindset out of those beliefs, right? So you usually do everything, or maybe you're overseeing it, or maybe you have to approve certain things in your business, right? Because you want it done your way, right? It's like Burger King, right? Have it your way. I want it my way, right? Or maybe I should go with the Usher reference, right? My way. I want it done my way. That means you're micromanaging the way it's done. Now, don't get me wrong. The result is important, okay? But how you get to the result is not that important, relatively speaking, okay? You need a process. Don't get me wrong, all right? You need steps followed. However, you don't have to be the one managing that process, micromanaging exactly what happens, right? Most people say, hey, I don't want to micromanage yet. I'm going to oversee every step you make in this process, right? So what you need to do instead is what you'll find is simply allow. Trust. Trust, number one, yourself. When you trust yourself to bring on the right people, right? To put on the right process for them to follow rather than you making sure they follow the process, that opens up a whole new world, right? So you can trust others and trust yourself at the same time and allow, right? Simply let go of the micromanaging. You still have to inspect. Don't get me wrong. All right. There's again, I go through all of this with my one-to-one clients. I'm not saying simply assume, right? We know what happens when you assume things are being done. You have to inspect, you have to have process in place. However, that can be done without micromanaging. All right. So that's number one mistake, being micromanager. And if you're a solopreneur out there, I'm going to take a little minute here to speak to you. You're solo. You have nobody else in your business. You're doing everything. Guess what you're doing? That's right. You're micromanaging every detail of your business. Think about that. Consider that. At what point are you ready to let go of that? At what point are you ready to trust? Whether that's a virtual assistant or maybe a part-time employee, whatever it may be, a few hours here, a few hours there. At what point are you ready to stop micromanaging yourself in the business and let go and allow? Because you know, if you keep doing all the things, you will keep doing all the things. You have to let go by definition in order to step into something bigger. And you do want to step into something bigger in your business, don't you? That's why you're here in the first place. That's why you're doing what you do in the first place, is to do bigger things. When you micromanage, you keep yourself from doing bigger things. All right? That point is clear. It's obvious now. Micromanaging needs to go, right? And there are alternatives to that. Again, I talk about that with my one-to-one clients, and you can find resources on my website about that. All right? Number two mistake, right? Giving answers to questions. That's right. Giving answers to questions. I call this Wizard of Oz syndrome. Okay. Let me tell you a story. This will make this concrete. In my business, I had a physical office, and this was years ago. Okay. And I had a staff, and I was the most, I would say I knew what we were doing more than anybody because I was that bottleneck, right? I was the wizard behind the curtain. And so what would happen is the employees and my team would have a question, right? And they would come to me for the answer. And what I would do, and you may relate to this as well, but I would tell them the answer. I would say, I would do it this way. Or I wouldn't even say that. I would say, let's do it this way. Then what would happen? Next time they ran into the problem, they would come to me. What do you want me to do? That's the famous question. What do you want me to do here? I want you to do this. Okay. And they go do it. Sounds okay in theory, I guess, right? What happens as your business grows? Your business is going to grow. So as your business grows, the questions grow. Your team grows. the things you need to answer grow. And it actually goes right back into that micromanaging, right? If you're giving the answers to the questions, you're telling them exactly what to do. And here's the important part. I'm going to slow down here because you probably haven't thought of it this way before. But when you tell somebody what to do, when they ask you, what do you want me to do here? And you give them the answer, you're removing all accountability and all growth potential. You're removing everything, their opportunity to grow as a person, an employee, and a professional. You're taking that away from them. Right? Think about this. If you tell them what to do, I want you to do it this way. All right. If they do it that way and it goes well, hey, great job. You did a great job there. All they did was do what you told them to do. Right. The flip side, if they do what you told them to do and something goes wrong, guess who's to blame? Right here, you. Because you told them what to do. So they have no accountability. They have no risk. They have no skin in the game to actually learn what to do. It doesn't matter. They can play it safe and say, hey, boss, what do you want me to do here? I want you to do this. All right. They do it well. They get praise. They do it poorly. Hey, it's on the boss. I just did what you told me to do. You can see how that's a problem, right? I'll handle it is the worst phrase ever. Or do it this way is the worst phrase ever. Right? It not only weakens them as a professional because it doesn't allow them to grow, right? It's like the plant trying to come out of the ground and you've got a cap on it, right? It cannot grow, but they take no accountability for anything. And you're training them at that point to come to you for the answers. You're actually perpetuating yourself as a bottleneck. What happens when you're on vacation? Believe me, this happened to me plenty. You're on vacation, or well, when you want to take a vacation, right? You're out of the office as much as you could be. Question comes up: where are they going to go? They're going to go to you, right? They're still going to go to you because you've trained them to do that. So giving answers to questions is the worst way to help employees and to help your business and for you to step into leadership, right? So that's mistake number 2. When it comes to leadership mindset, giving answers is not leading. All right. Just like micromanaging is not leading. Right. So help your team grow, help others around you grow by letting them make mistakes. Right. It's like riding a bike. If you were to hold the back seat, so your kid doesn't fall down when they're trying to ride a bike, right? Are they really learning to ride the bike? Or if they get wobbly and they get to a hard part, hey, I can't get up that hill, and you hop on the bike and you ride the bike up the hill for them. Are they learning how to do that? No. When they get to the next hill, they're going to come to you to ride the bike back up the hill again, right? So allow them to make mistakes. There's a whole process around that I have, right? For my one-on-one clients that I work with, and it works. Believe me, I've gotten myself out from behind the Wizard of Oz curtain to allowing my people to grow. All right. And my clients have as well. And so can you. All right. So that's important with your leadership mindset. All right. Third and final mistake when it comes to leadership mindset is, I'll call this martyr-preneur syndrome, right? Being a martyr-preneur, right? You're in early, you're out late, right? You're working harder than everyone else because you feel like you have to, right? You might even have guilt of not doing enough unless you're doing the most work on the team. We hear that all the time, right? Well, you're the leader, you're the owner, you're the CEO, you're the leader of the company. You need to do more. It's expected you do more than anybody else. But what is more? Who defines what more is? Okay, let me ask you this. If you're in the military, who does more? The soldier on the ground or the general creating the battle plans and the execution plan, right? If you're on let's say a football team, right? Professional football team, who's doing more, right? The player who's, the tackling dummy in practice, or the VP of scouting who's finding the superstar players, right? Who's strategically planning what to do next. Right? If you run a chain of restaurants, right? Is the general manager of all the restaurants doing more, or is the dishwasher at one of the restaurants doing more? The dishwasher's working way harder. He's putting in more grind, more effort. He's probably there earlier and might be there later. But it's the general manager who's creating the ideas, the strategic marketing plan, making the decisions, everything that matters behind the scenes, right? It's the same for your business. If you feel guilt around not doing enough, it's a mindset shift that is needed. It's clear. If you feel guilt around not doing enough in your business, it's clear. It's a mindset shift, right? Because successful entrepreneurs know that they need to do what matters most, not the most grind. They need to do the important strategic things most. What's going to drive revenue, what's going to drive growth, it's going to create new opportunity in your business, not simply grind out doing the detail work. You can see how important that is for the future of your business, right? So when you feel like you have to do it all, that's when you know it's time to shift the mindset. This isn't about adding new systems. This isn't about adding new processes. This is about a total mindset shift. And it can start with a little thing. It can start with very little things, one step at a time. And that's what we can do. All right. So 3 mistakes to avoid: micromanaging, giving answers, and grinding it out as the martyr in your business. All right. What you want to do instead is allow and trust, right? Let people make mistakes and shift your leadership mindset into one of purpose, one of fulfillment, because that's what will lift up everybody, right? When the general manager of those restaurants is living their purpose, it's creating more dishwashing jobs for people to start off at, right? When the VP of scouting is finding those players for that football team, it's creating more opportunity for guys to get drafted to be those tackling dummies on the practice squad. All right. When the general in the military is creating those plans to keep everybody safe, it creates more opportunity for soldiers on the ground to be there, right? The unit is strong. It's the same with you, with your business. When you shift your mindset, it creates much more than you could ever imagine. All right. So when you're ready for that, go ahead and go to my website. I have free resources for you, joesilvatraining.com. Check that out and get started on shifting your leadership mindset. Get started on living your purpose. All right. I've got free information there for you now. So go there, click the links, and you'll be glad you did. All right. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you on the next episode.